welcome. A link down below in the description box as always if you want to read this on your own. There's also a link to the original Reddit Ask Me Anything post where the developers shared some information on Far Cry 6. Here's the details in short form. A detailed roadmap is planned to be shown before the release. Arcade mode is not coming back. There's no exact reason given, though it did allow for the team to focus more on the campaign. A huge amount of effort going into the last generation versions so they run smoothly, unlike Cyberpunk. Like all past Far Cry 6 is its own story and world, although there may be some loose connections. You will be able to approach the story however you like, no matter where you are on the map, which will give you freedom to explore Yara at your own pace. Wingsuit and grappling hook are confirmed. Far Cry 6 is a fully playable in co-op, as similar to Far Cry 5 and the New Dawn, with the tether system. The tether system, if you remember, made it so that players couldn't be too far from one another, and if you were, it would respawn you within a certain distance of each other. A wide selection of land, air, and sea vehicles. Expect resistance no matter what you drive. Like past Far Cry, you can hunt wildlife and trade their resources. Takedowns are back. Plenty of new animations. Biomes vary from beaches to jungles, infested swamps, and more. Urban areas are a mix of open and closed buildings with rooftop runs, sewer guerrilla paths, climbing, jumping, and claustrophobic gunfights in tank-filled city streets. Whichever manifestation of Herc is in the game, they will be on other adventures during Far Cry 6. Fuego backpack lets you pull off some crazy stunts as it sets fire to everything. Yara is being described as beautiful, enticing, lived in, vast, rich, epic, meaningful, and surprising. The amigos, friends, in Far Cry 6 are mainly focused on animals, though the developers tease that some NPC will fight alongside with you. There are no guns for hire, however. PS5 DualSense owners will be happy with the controller features, though they can't talk about it right now. It's top secret. The government can tell us that UFOs do exist, but, the DualSense features, we're holding back on that. So this is the long-winded AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything. At least I think that's what it means. Will Far Cry 6 run smooth on last-gen consoles? Well, technically it's still current gen, because it's still current because currently there's still games being developed for the platform. Next gen is like your Xbox Series X and your PS5, but let's not get too technical. The team is putting a huge amount of effort into making sure that Far Cry 6 runs smoothly on last-gen consoles. Current! There are plans to use the PS5 DualSense controller's adaptive triggers and haptic? Yes. I can't tell you more today, but the PS5 DualSense owners will be happy. It'll vibrate violently. Will the map editor return? No. Arcade will not come back. Removing this mode from our plan was a difficult decision, but allowed us more to focus our efforts on the main campaign, transporting players into the heart of a modern-day guerrilla revolution. Will we see the weapon tier system return from Far Cry New Dawn? No. This system was good for New Dawn, but didn't fit our fantasy and world, so we went with a different route. I assume, based on the gameplay reveal, there are no guns for hire? Juan said not to expect backup, is this right? Is Juan available? 'Cause he's hella cool. Exactly, there are no guns for hire, but you might be surprised with some backup from time to time. Is there a roadmap already in place outlining the DLCs for Far Cry 6, and will this be revealed before the release of the game? For sure, and yes, more on that later, and we're not going to keep you waiting for too much longer. What information can you share about the wildlife of Far Cry 6? What game is the wildlife most reminiscent of? Well, wildlife has always been an important part of any Far Cry. In our case, wildlife can be hunted and used in your different trading to get what you want. My question is the wingsuit still in the game? That's my favorite way of getting around. I really hope we'll still have it. Also, the grappling hook? Happy to say yes and yes. Will we be able to fly helicopters and planes and drive boats in free roam open world gameplay? For sure, absolutely. There's a wide range of land, sea, and air vehicles that you can acquire to roam the world of Yara. From classic 50s American muscle cars, nice, to revolver aircraft, you can find them, store them. Store them. Really? And take them for a spin when you want. That said, the airspace and road network are under the control of El Presidente. So expect to see a fight to free Yara. I'm really hung up on that being able to store vehicles. That's going to be wicked. I don't remember other games being able to do that. But I'm also half asleep right now, so we'll just move on. Will there be human amigos, similar to the guns for hire in Far Cry 5? Well, we focused on amigos being animals for Far Cry 6, but that doesn't mean you will always be fighting alone. Yara is full of like-minded people that want to take the fight to Castillo and bring down the regime. Don't ask me what that was, by the way. Please describe your favorite thing about Yara in 3 words or less. Yeah. Beautiful, enticing, lived-in, vast, rich, surprising. Yeah. We get it. It's gorgeous. It's sexy. Thanks, guys. You took all the good words. So I'll say epic, meaningful, and surprising. Will the jetpack allow us to double jump or help traversal in any way? The Fuego backpack is awesome and lets you pull off some crazy stunts. It's not a double jump, more a burst that lets you traverse the world differently. And at the same time, you leave a blazing trail of destruction behind you as your Fuego sets fire to everything around you as you go. A question relating to animations and reused ones. Either it's Far Cry 2, 3, or 6, it's all about the narrative, the integration of the world and the player fantasy that we want you to play. In our case, the cigar is one example of you living the life of a gorilla into a Caribbean island frozen in time. And in our case, not only do we have the contextual healing animations, but we'll have more gadgets also to heal yourselves. Whatever we can reuse that fits what we do and everything that needs redone to go through a makeover, but we've changed a lot of the weapon handling system, and you will feel the difference. Will any of Herc's make an appearance? The manifestation of Herc, including Urk, are legends in Far Cry. However, in the context of Yara, we wanted to mainly spotlight characters from the region. So Herc will be on other adventures during the time of Far Cry 6. What can you tell us about the co-op of Far Cry 6? Any improvements or new additions made from the previous games? How many players is it? Should we expect the tether system to return? The full game is playable in co-op with the tether system that you experienced in Far Cry 5 and New Dawn, and it is as simple and easy to play with friends. We've just made sure it was a lot of fun to play with your friends. We'll have more to show you on that soon. In the main city, how many buildings can we expect to enter? How many biomes are there? How many square kilometers does the map have? The urban areas are a mix of open and closed buildings with rooftop runs, sewer gorilla paths, climbing, jumping, and claustrophobic gunfights in tank-filled city streets. In terms of biome, we were drawn to the Caribbean, owing to the amount of biome variation the region has, and really wanted to tap into the contrast we could find there. You'll be able to explore from paradise beaches, watch out for sharks, up humid jungle mountains into crocodile-infested swamps, with more in between. Will we see old takedowns like knife throw takedown, grenade takedown, 2 death from above, and possibly other new takedowns? Takedowns are definitely back and fully ready for stealth players with plenty of new animations. How did the studio come up with the game's theme? Is it something that you wanted to see in a Far Cry game for a while? Or was it something spontaneously suggested and gained traction? Nav, long before joining Far Cry, just in studying history, political science, and my own family history, I was always fascinated about the root causes of revolution, specifically the motivations behind fighting a powerful regime against overwhelming odds. As we began to map out the story on Far Cry 6, in our characters, the themes became very clear. Questions of when does your revolution begin? How far are you willing to go for that revolution? Are you fighting this revolution for the right reasons? All emerged from that and challenge our characters throughout the story. How challenging was it to build Far Cry 6's world compared to some of the games you have worked on previously? Building a Far Cry world was a new challenge for me that I was really excited to get involved with. Moving from racing to third-person adventure to first-person shooter brought a whole new way of thinking that changes the way you think about designing play space, but at the same time, the fundamentals I've learned from previous projects also gelled with the concept of building a country, says Ben. The world appears to be somewhat more complex this time due to the inclusion of a big urban area and possibly urban elements in other places as well. Since this has not been done in a Far Cry game on this scale before, what are some of the difficulties you and your team faced during the development process? Building Esperanza and the other urban areas of Far Cry 6 was a challenge the team hit head-on. Everyone from engine, technical artists, object bank, level design, all had to work together to build these spaces in a way that still feels Far Cry, yet offers this more claustrophobic street-level gameplay, according to Ben. When creating these huge worlds, especially in Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, what is the most commonly used approach? Do you work the entire map at the same time, adding new levels of complexity to all the areas, or do you only move on after you have more or less finished working on a specific area? Ben says that his preferred approach is to work in layers, starting really rough to get a general feel for the entire world before going into too much detail in one area. That way, we can get a feel for the overall density, relationship between points of interest, sight lines, etc., while still rough enough to move things around. Then we have an amazing team, world builders that build everything out, light it, add the finer details and storytelling, all in layers. When bringing the flora and fauna to life, does your team do all the research themselves, or do you also consult experts from scientific fields like biology? The research process is a multifaceted. The team works with experts to build out a knowledge base they can then build on, augmented over time as more ideas and concepts come about. For the creation of trees, rocks, foliage, the team took thousands of reference photos and created a gigantic library of photogrammetry assets. Will Far Cry 6 feature a co-op mode similar to 5? Yes, it'll be fully playable in co-op like 5. Tell your friends it's a lot of fun. How does the story's overall structure differ from that of Far Cry 3, 4, or 5? Obviously, 5 centered around the story being driven by the resistance meter, while 3 and 4 had more traditional linear story structure. So how does Far Cry 6 handle this? Players will have a lot of choice when it comes to how they want to experience the overall story. The world is filled with interesting people and the stories they have to tell. Who we'll speak to and in what order is up to each player, allowing for a lot of different ways to experience the playouts. It helps if I can speak properly. You will be able to approach the story however you like, no matter where you are on the map, which will give you the freedom to explore at your own pace. But we also ensure new ways that players will experience the larger narrative. The struggle between Danny and Libertad, I almost said Libtard, against Anton. This includes having moments with Anton and Diego where Danny isn't actually there, so you can see Anton and Diego's perspective of the revolution as if you were in the room right next to them, says Nav. Alex says not quite the same as previous games. Different places to go, different people to help, in any order you want. Many places to conquer, like I said, close but different to the same time. Far Cry 6 is set to release this October 7th And you can watch the latest gameplay footage right on this link right here. And there you have it. That's it for this long, convoluted, rambling video. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It greatly helps support the channel with the algorithm and making me just a little wee bit more relevant in the search results when people are looking shit up on the internet. And if you didn't like the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs down. And when you go to bed at night and you sleep, you can't, because all you can hear is the sound of my voice, the thunder and the rain, until the end of time. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, naturally that would be great. But if not, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care. Maybe I'll see some of you in the next video. Bye for now.